You've been taught to be nice, to always put others first, to keep the peace. And that's fine until it isn't, because sometimes being kind becomes a crutch. Sometimes it becomes the reason you're stuck. You're giving, 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 but where's the return? You bend over backward for others, but when was the last time you did that for yourself? You're so focused on not upsetting anyone, on not rocking the boat, that you've forgotten what it feels like to take control of the ship. In life, it's easy to fall into the habit of putting everyone else before yourself. Society often celebrates those who selflessly give, who prioritize the needs of others, and who seem to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders with a smile. But here's the truth: prioritizing others at the expense of yourself isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. And over time, it doesn't just drain you, it diminishes your ability to live the life you deserve. How often do you find yourself saying yes to something you didn't want to do, just to avoid disappointing someone else? How often do you silence your own desires, your own needs, and your own dreams because you're so worried about how someone else might feel? This pattern isn't just exhausting, it's destructive. When you consistently put others first, you send a message to the world and to yourself that your needs don't matter. And when you believe that, you begin to live a life that reflects it. Think about how airplanes work. Every safety briefing tells you the same thing: put on your own oxygen mask before helping anyone else. Why? Because if you pass out from lack of oxygen, you can't help anyone. Life works the same way. You cannot give your best to others if you're running on empty. Yet so many people ignore this truth. They keep giving and giving, all while ignoring their own exhaustion, frustration, and unfulfilled dreams. They wear themselves down to nothing, thinking they're being noble. But in reality, they're robbing both themselves and the people around them of the best version of who they are. The idea of putting yourself first can feel selfish. It can feel like you're letting others down or being unkind. But let's be clear, prioritizing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you take care of yourself, when you honor your needs, you become stronger. You become more capable, more fulfilled, and more at peace. And when you're in that state, you can actually show up for others in a way that's more meaningful and impactful. True kindness doesn't come from a place of depletion, it comes from a place of abundance. But what does it really mean to prioritize yourself? It means listening to that voice inside you that tells you what you need, even if it's uncomfortable. It means honoring your boundaries, even when others push against them. It means saying no when something doesn't align with your values or your well-being. And perhaps most importantly, it means allowing yourself to pursue the things that light you up, even if it means someone else might have to figure things out without your help for once. This isn't easy. If you've spent your whole life putting others first, shifting that mindset can feel impossible. You might worry about being judged or losing relationships. And yes, some people won't like the change. Some people benefit from your self-sacrifice, and when you stop giving so much of yourself, they'll push back. But that discomfort is temporary, and what you gain is so much greater. You gain clarity. You gain energy. You gain the ability to focus on what truly matters to you. When you stop prioritizing others at your own expense, you start to realize how much time, energy, and attention you've been giving away and how much of it you can reclaim. That time and energy can be redirected toward your dreams, your passions, and your own growth. Imagine what your life could look like if you put yourself first. Imagine the goals you could achieve, the joy you could experience, and the peace you could feel. Imagine waking up every day with a sense of purpose, knowing that you're building a life that reflects who you truly are, not just who others expect you to be. That's the power of prioritizing yourself. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It doesn't mean you turn your back on the people you love. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you prioritize yourself, you create a foundation of strength that allows you to be there for others in a way that's healthy and sustainable. You stop helping out of obligation or guilt, and you start helping because you genuinely want to, because you're in a place where you have something to give. So start listening to yourself. Start valuing yourself. When you feel drained, take a step back. When you feel pulled in too many directions, pause and reassess. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? What will serve me in this moment? And then give yourself permission to do exactly that. Your life is your responsibility. No one else is going to fight for your dreams, protect your energy, or take care of your well-being. That's your job. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll find yourself living a life that feels authentic, fulfilling, and deeply aligned with who you are. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission. And most importantly, stop believing the lie that putting yourself first is wrong. It's not. It's the most courageous, necessary thing you can do. Because when you prioritize yourself, you're not just changing your own life, you're setting an example for everyone around you. You're showing them what it looks like to live with integrity, to honor your own worth, and to create a life that truly matters. And that is the ultimate act of kindness, not just to yourself, but to the world. Kindness without boundaries is one of the quickest paths to exploitation. There's a difference between being generous and being taken advantage of, but too often people blur that line. You want to help, to support, to be there for others, and that's a noble quality. But when there are no limits to how much you give, you open yourself up to people who will take everything and give nothing in return. It's not their fault, they're just taking what's offered. It's up to you to decide when enough is enough. Consider this: every time you say yes to someone without thinking of the cost, you're saying no to yourself. Every time you allow someone to overstep your boundaries, you're teaching them that it's okay to do so. This doesn't mean people are inherently malicious. It simply means they'll follow the path you lay out for them. If you keep allowing others to take advantage of your time, energy, and kindness, why would they stop? People adjust to the rules you set, and if you set no rules, the game becomes one-sided. Think of your life like a house. Your kindness is the warmth inside, the feeling of home that you offer to others. But without clear boundaries, it's like leaving the doors wide open for anyone to walk in, take what they want, and leave. Before you know it, your house is empty, your warmth is gone, and you're left wondering how it happened. It happened because you didn't lock the door, because you didn't create a threshold that says, this is where I draw the line. Setting boundaries isn't about being harsh or unkind. It's about self-respect. It's about recognizing your own value and protecting it. When you allow people to take and take without giving anything back, you're telling them and yourself that you don't deserve better. And over time, that belief starts to sink in. You begin to feel used, unappreciated, and invisible. It's not just emotionally draining, it's damaging to your sense of self-worth. But boundaries do more than protect you. They also teach others how to treat you. When you establish clear limits, you send a message: I value myself and I expect you to value me too. It might surprise you how quickly people adjust. Those who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries, even if it's uncomfortable for them at first. And those who don't respect them, those are the people you don't need in your life. Yet, many people struggle with this because they fear conflict. They don't want to upset anyone or risk losing relationships. But here's the thing: real relationships, healthy, meaningful ones, can withstand boundaries. In fact, they thrive on them. Boundaries create clarity. They eliminate resentment. They foster mutual respect. If someone reacts poorly to your boundaries, that says more about them than it does about you. It reveals their willingness or lack thereof to honor your needs. So how do you set boundaries when you've spent so much time letting others cross them? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to the situations that leave you feeling drained, resentful, or taken advantage of. These are the moments where boundaries are missing. Once you've identified these areas, decide what you're no longer willing to tolerate. Be specific. It might mean saying no to staying late at work when it's not your responsibility, declining invitations that feel more like obligations, or simply asking for help when you need it. The next step is communication. Boundaries mean little if they're only in your head. You need to express them clearly and assertively. This doesn't mean being rude or confrontational. It means being honest. For example, instead of saying, you're always taking advantage of me, say, I need to focus on my priorities, so I won't be able to help with this right now. Notice the difference? It's firm but respectful. At first, this might feel uncomfortable. You might worry about how people will react, but discomfort is a necessary part of growth. Over time, as you enforce your boundaries, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel more confident, more in control, and more valued. And the people around you will start to respect you in ways they hadn't before. But let's address the hardest part: letting go of people who refuse to respect your boundaries. This is never easy, especially when it's someone you care about. But ask yourself, is their presence worth the constant disrespect? Is their company worth the cost of your peace? Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to walk away. Because when you let go of those who drain you, you make room for those who uplift you. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They're guidelines that define how you want to be treated. They're a way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my energy, my time, and my well-being. When you embrace this mindset, you stop being an easy target for exploitation. You stop feeling like a victim of other people's demands. Instead, you take back control of your life. Your kindness is a gift, but it's not unlimited. It's not something to be given away freely to anyone who asks. It's something to be shared thoughtfully, intentionally, and with those who truly deserve it. Because when you protect your kindness with boundaries, it doesn't diminish, it grows stronger. It becomes a source of genuine connection, not just a resource to be drained. And that is the kind of kindness that truly changes the world. In life, there's often a pressure to be liked by everyone, to avoid conflict, to smooth over disagreements, to present yourself in a way that pleases others. It's tempting to chase approval because it feels good in the moment. A smile, a compliment, or a nod of agreement can feel like validation, proof that you're doing something right. But here's the truth: being liked is overrated. Respect, on the other hand, is priceless. And if you have to choose between the two, always choose respect. Being liked often requires you to compromise. It might mean holding back your opinions to avoid offending someone, staying silent when you disagree, or pretending to enjoy something you don't. Over time, this constant bending and reshaping yourself to fit the expectations of others erodes your authenticity. You start to lose sight of who you are because you're too focused on being who you think others want you to be. But what's the cost? Approval from people who only know the version of you that you've carefully curated? That's not worth it. Respect, on the other hand, comes from standing firm in who you are. It's about having the courage to speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is what I stand for, and this is what I won't tolerate. Respect isn't about making everyone happy. It's about earning the acknowledgement of others through your integrity, consistency, and strength. The reality is, you can't control how people perceive you. No matter how kind, accommodating, or agreeable you are, there will always be someone who doesn't like you. And that's okay. Chasing universal approval is a losing battle because people's opinions are shaped by their own experiences, biases, and expectations, things that have nothing to do with you. What you can control, however, is how you carry yourself. You can decide to show up authentically, to stand firm in your values, and to demand the same respect you give to others. When you prioritize respect over being liked, you may face resistance. People who are used to you going along with everything might not know how to handle the change. They might label you as difficult, stubborn, or even unkind. But don't let that deter you. These labels are often a reflection of their discomfort with your boundaries, not a reflection of your character. Over time, people will adjust, and those who don't, they're likely the ones who are benefiting from your willingness to prioritize their comfort over your own integrity. Choosing respect means learning to embrace discomfort. It means being willing to have difficult conversations, to disagree without fear, and to stand your ground even when it's easier to back down. It's not about being combative or argumentative. It's about staying true to yourself in the face of pressure. For example, if you're in a situation where someone tries to push you into doing something you're not comfortable with, being liked might mean going along with it to avoid conflict. But being respected means saying, no, this doesn't work for me, and standing firm in that decision. You might face backlash in the moment, but in the long run, people will learn to take your words seriously. Respect also requires self-respect. You can't expect others to treat you with dignity if you don't hold yourself to the same standard. This means honoring your own boundaries, speaking up for yourself, and not tolerating behavior that undermines your worth. It's not always easy, especially if you've spent years prioritizing others' opinions over your own. But the more you practice self-respect, the more natural it becomes, and the more others will follow your lead. Here's the thing about being respected: it attracts the right kind of people. When you're authentic and unwavering in your values, you draw in those who appreciate you for who you truly are. These are the people who will challenge you to grow, who will support you when you take a stand, and who will respect your boundaries without question. On the flip side, being liked often attracts people who are only interested in what you can do for them. They like you because you're agreeable, because you make things easy for them. But the moment you stop bending to their will, they disappear. And honestly, good riddance. Respect doesn't mean you have to be unkind or cold. It doesn't mean you stop caring about others. In fact, true respect is built on a foundation of empathy and understanding. It's about being honest without being cruel, assertive without being aggressive, and firm without being inflexible. When you operate from a place of mutual respect, you set the tone for how relationships should function, built on trust, honesty, and equality. The need to be liked is rooted in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of standing alone. But when you shift your focus to earning respect, you replace that fear with strength. You stop worrying about pleasing everyone and start living in alignment with your values. You recognize that your worth isn't determined by how many people like you, but by how you show up in the world. Respect is the foundation of meaningful relationships, personal growth, and self-worth. It's not something that's handed to you. It's something you earn by being unapologetically yourself. So let go of the need to be liked. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Stand tall, speak your truth, and demand the respect you deserve. Because when you choose respect, you choose freedom. Freedom to be yourself, freedom to pursue your goals, and freedom to live a life that's true to who you are. Your dreams matter. That's not a suggestion or a soft encouragement, it's a fact. Yet so often people let their dreams slip through their fingers because they feel obligated to prioritize everyone else. They convince themselves that their dreams can wait, that their needs aren't as pressing, that someone else's happiness is more important. But here's the truth. Every time you put your dreams on the back burner, every time you ignore the fire inside you, you're letting a part of yourself die. And if you keep doing it, one day you'll wake up and realize that the life you wanted isn't there anymore. It's just a memory of what could have been. Pursuing your dreams doesn't make you selfish, it makes you alive. Too many people fall into the trap of believing that prioritizing their own goals and desires means they're neglecting others. They feel guilty for wanting more, for taking time for themselves, for choosing their path over someone else's expectations. But the reality is, when you sacrifice your dreams for the sake of others, you're not truly helping anyone. You're just teaching the people around you that your needs don't matter, and you're teaching yourself the same lesson. Imagine this, you're constantly putting other people first, saying yes to every request, every obligation, every expectation. You're trying to be everything for everyone, but in doing so, you have no time left for what you truly want. Your dreams are there in the back of your mind, but they feel distant, like a faded photograph of a life you once imagined. And every time you ignore them, the photograph fades a little more. You might convince yourself that you're being responsible, that you're doing the right thing, but deep down, you know the truth, you're letting yourself down. What you need to understand is that your dreams are not a luxury. They're not something you get to pursue only after everyone else is happy, after every other box is checked, after you've taken care of everything and everyone. Your dreams are a necessity. They're what give your life meaning and direction. They're what make you feel alive. And if you keep putting them off, you're not just delaying your happiness, you're denying yourself the chance to live the life you're meant to live. Pursuing your dreams doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities or disregarding the people you care about. It means recognizing that you're just as important as everyone else. It means carving out time, energy, and focus for what matters to you. And yes, that might mean saying no to some things. It might mean disappointing people who expect you to always be available, always accommodating, always putting them first. But that's okay. Because when you choose your dreams, you're not just creating a better life for yourself, you're creating a better version of yourself for the people around you. Think about the example you're setting. If you have children, friends, or people who look up to you, what are you teaching them by constantly sacrificing your dreams? Are you showing them what it looks like to live with purpose, passion, and courage? Or are you showing them that it's okay to settle, to shrink, to abandon what matters most in the name of pleasing others? Choosing your dreams isn't just about you, it's about inspiring others to do the same. Of course, pursuing your dreams takes courage. It's not easy to step away from the familiar, to risk failure, to face the criticism and doubt of others. There will be people who don't understand your choices, who question your priorities, who try to pull you back into the comfort zone where they feel safe. But you can't let their fears become your fears. Their limitations don't have to be yours. The only person who truly knows what's right for you is you. And yes, there will be sacrifices. There will be times when you have to say no to opportunities that don't align with your goals, to people who drain your energy, to obligations that pull you away from your path. But these sacrifices aren't losses, they're investments in your future. Every time you choose your dreams, you're taking a step closer to the life you want. Every time you prioritize what matters to you, you're building a foundation for success, happiness, and fulfillment. Your dreams aren't just about achieving something, they're about becoming someone. They're about growing into the person you're meant to be, someone who lives with purpose, passion, and authenticity. When you pursue your dreams, you're not just chasing a goal, you're transforming yourself. And that transformation doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you're fulfilled and aligned with your purpose, you have more to give. You're happier, more energized, and more capable of supporting the people you care about. But if you keep neglecting your dreams, what are you left with? Resentment, frustration, a sense of emptiness that no amount of approval or external validation can fill. You might convince yourself that you're doing the right thing by putting others first, but deep down, you know that you're betraying yourself. And that betrayal is far more damaging than any criticism or judgment you might face for choosing your path. So stop waiting for permission. Stop telling yourself that your dreams can wait until the time is right, until the kids are grown, until everyone else is happy. The time will never be perfect, and the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Start now, even if it's just a small step. Protect your dreams fiercely, because no one else will. They're yours for a reason. They were placed in your heart to guide you, to inspire you, to remind you of what's possible. Your dreams matter. They're not just a part of your life, they're the essence of it. And the sooner you start treating them that way, the sooner you'll discover just how much you're capable of achieving. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will see the value in your goals, your choices, or the way you live your life. That's okay. It's not their journey, it's yours. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you'll be free from the constant need for validation. Life is not about explaining yourself to everyone or convincing others to support you. It's about staying focused on your path, even when others don't get it. When you start walking a path that's true to who you are, you'll encounter resistance. It may come from people who think they know what's best for you. It may come from friends or family who struggle to understand why you're choosing a road they wouldn't take. And sometimes it will come from people who aren't comfortable with the fact that you're doing something they're too afraid to do themselves. It's not always malicious people project their fears, insecurities, and limitations onto others without even realizing it. But you can't let their doubts deter you. The truth is, no one else is living your life. No one else will face the consequences of your choices or reap the rewards of your decisions. So why let their opinions weigh so heavily on your shoulders? Why let their lack of understanding hold you back from pursuing what sets your soul on fire? When you spend too much time trying to explain yourself to others, you lose precious energy that could be spent building the life you want. You're not here to justify your dreams to anyone. You're here to live them. This doesn't mean you shouldn't care about the opinions of those close to you. It's natural to want support from the people you love. But you have to recognize the difference between support and approval. Support is someone standing by you even when they don't fully understand your choices. Approval, on the other hand, is someone giving you their permission to move forward. You don't need approval. You need the courage to move forward with or without it. I think about how much time people waste trying to get everyone on board with their decisions. They explain, justify, defend over and over again, hoping for that magical moment when someone says, I get it. But that moment may never come, and even if it does, it won't change your reality. Whether or not someone else understands your journey has no impact on your ability to succeed. It's just noise that distracts you from your purpose. It's important to remember that people can only see the world through their own lens. Their perspective is shaped by their experiences, fears, and beliefs. If someone has never taken a risk, they might not understand why you're willing to bet everything on your dream. If someone values security over growth, they might question why you're leaving a stable job to chase an uncertain future. If someone has settled for less in their own life, they might resent the fact that you're refusing to do the same. But none of that is about you. It's about them. When you encounter this resistance, don't take it personally. Don't let it shake your confidence or make you second-guess your decisions. Instead, use it as a reminder of why your journey is so important. You're breaking free from the mold, refusing to let fear or complacency dictate your life. That's a powerful thing, and not everyone will be ready to understand it. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're brave. Letting go of the need to be understood is liberating. It frees you to focus on what truly matters: the work, the effort, the progress. When you stop explaining yourself, you gain back time and energy that can be poured into your growth. You stop waiting for permission and start taking action. You realize that the only person who truly needs to believe in your vision is you. This doesn't mean you have to shut people out. It's possible to pursue your dreams while maintaining relationships as long as you set boundaries. Be honest about your intentions, but don't feel obligated to provide a detailed explanation for every decision you make. Respectfully communicate your goals and let others decide how they want to respond. Some people will come around and some won't. And both outcomes are okay. Along the way, you'll find your tribe, the people who understand you without needing an explanation. They might not always share your vision, but they'll respect your determination and cheer you on. These are the people who matter. They'll inspire you to keep going on the hard days, and they'll celebrate with you on the good ones. But until you find those people, you have to be willing to stand alone. You have to be your own biggest supporter, your own source of encouragement, and your own validation. There's strength in silence. There's power in quietly doing the work while others question and doubt. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Let your progress be the only explanation you need. Over time, those who doubted you will either see the results of your determination or fade into the background. Either way, it won't matter because you'll be too busy living the life you've worked for. So stop wasting time trying to make everyone understand. Stop waiting for approval. Stop explaining yourself. The people who truly care will support you regardless, and the rest will fall away. Your journey is yours alone, and it doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. What matters is that it makes sense to you. Stay focused, stay determined, and trust that the path you've chosen is the right one, even if no one else can see it. Kindness is often celebrated as a virtue, and for good reason. In a world that can be harsh and unkind, the ability to show compassion and empathy is a powerful force. But kindness must have its boundaries. Without limits, it can quickly become a tool for manipulation, exploitation, or even self-sabotage. If you're always prioritizing others at the expense of yourself, that kindness stops being noble and starts becoming harmful to you and, ironically, to the very people you're trying to help. True kindness is rooted in strength, not weakness. It requires a firm understanding of when to say yes and when to say no. When you're overly kind, you run the risk of being taken advantage of. There will always be people who see kindness not as a virtue but as an opportunity. These individuals have no problem pushing boundaries, making excessive demands, or taking more than they give. If you're not careful, they'll drain your energy, your time, and even your resources, leaving you exhausted and resentful. The worst part is that these people rarely stop on their own. The more you give, the more they'll take. They see your kindness as a weakness, a door that's always open for them to walk through, regardless of the cost to you. Kindness without boundaries can also lead to burnout. When you're constantly saying yes, constantly trying to please, constantly putting others first, you're neglecting your own needs. You tell yourself that you're being selfless, but in reality, you're running on empty. You can only give so much before you have nothing left to offer. And when that happens, it doesn't just hurt you, it hurts the people who genuinely rely on you. You can't pour from an empty cup. By trying to be everything for everyone, you end up being nothing for yourself. There's also the matter of respect. When you're overly accommodating, when you never push back, when you say yes to everything, people start to see you as someone who can be walked over. They might not do it maliciously, but they will take note of the fact that you rarely, if ever, assert yourself. Over time, this erodes their respect for you. They may appreciate your kindness, but they won't see you as strong or assertive. And the unfortunate truth is, in many cases, people respect strength more than they respect kindness. True kindness, however, doesn't mean being a pushover. It doesn't mean sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of others. It doesn't mean allowing yourself to be treated as a doormat. True kindness is about balance. It's about being compassionate and empathetic without compromising your values or your self-respect. It's about knowing when to give and when to hold back. It's about understanding that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to say no. Saying no doesn't make you unkind, it makes you honest. If someone asks for something that you're not in a position to give, whether it's your time, your energy, or your resources, saying no is a way of respecting both yourself and them. It's better to be upfront about your boundaries than to overextend yourself and deliver something half-heartedly or resentfully. Boundaries aren't barriers, they're guidelines for healthy, respectful relationships. They show people where they end and where you begin, and they teach them how to treat you. Another reason kindness needs boundaries is that it can inadvertently enable bad behavior. When you're too forgiving, too accommodating, or too willing to overlook certain things, you're essentially telling people that there are no consequences for their actions. This doesn't help them, it hurts them. It allows them to continue unhealthy patterns without ever facing accountability. By setting limits, you're not just protecting yourself, you're helping others learn and grow. It's also important to recognize that not everyone deserves your kindness. That may sound harsh, but it's true. There are people who will never appreciate your efforts, no matter how much you give. There are people who will see your kindness as a weakness to exploit. And there are people who will simply take and take without ever considering what they're giving in return. Being kind doesn't mean you have to let these people into your life. It doesn't mean you have to keep giving to someone who never gives back. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to prioritize your own well-being. Kindness must come from a place of strength. It's not about being nice for the sake of being nice. It's about choosing to be compassionate because it aligns with your values. When you're strong, you can be kind without fear. You can give without worrying about being taken advantage of because you know your limits. You can say no without feeling guilty because you know that your boundaries are a reflection of self-respect, not selfishness. And you can walk away from toxic people or situations without hesitation because you know that your kindness isn't owed to anyone who doesn't deserve it. To cultivate this strength, you need to prioritize self-awareness. Take the time to understand your needs, your limits, and your values. Reflect on the people in your life and the relationships you've built. Are there patterns of exploitation or imbalance? Are there moments where you've said yes when you wanted to say no? Are there situations where your kindness has been met with disrespect? These aren't easy questions to answer, but they're necessary if you want to set boundaries and protect yourself. Once you have this awareness, the next step is to practice assertiveness. This doesn't mean being aggressive or confrontational. It means being clear and firm about your boundaries. If someone crosses a line, let them know. If you can't meet a request, say so. If you feel uncomfortable or disrespected, speak up. It may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to prioritizing others over yourself. But with time, it will become second nature. Remember, kindness is a choice, a powerful, intentional choice. But it's not your responsibility to fix everyone or to make everyone happy. You're allowed to prioritize yourself. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to protect your peace. True kindness is rooted in strength, balance, and self-respect. And when you approach it this way, you're not just being kind to others, you're being kind to yourself. True kindness starts with self-respect. Set boundaries, protect your energy, and prioritize your well-being. Only then can your kindness come from a place of strength, benefiting both yourself and those who truly deserve it.